And we are back. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Smart to Noise Ratio Pro Audio Podcast. I'm your humble host, Jon Dayton. Joining me tonight in the Bat Cave, we have your humble co-host, Anthony Kosobucki.
Hey.
And way down there at the other end of the room, I can just about see him through the haze, Brandon Kapral.
Hello.
Joining us again on our stage tonight. He's filling in for one of my house bands, and because he was so close, we managed to snag him for a podcast. So, forts and smiles on the Smart to Noise Ratio boys. Where to begin?
Right now, I'm trying to watch this and not make it seem like a Daily Show skit, because everything playing in this seems like a Daily Show skit, but this is the 700 Club, and this is real TV. And it's not a joke. And I work at a church, so I'm pretty sure it's bad for me to say that, but damn.
That's why Brandon and I sit facing each other so we can't see the screen.
Yeah, it works.
Oy vey. With the TV. One of these days we're going to do a podcast with it completely off, and you're just going to have to wear a patch or something.
Well, when it gets warm, we'll do cigars by the fire, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah, as long as no one's peeing on the fire.
Speaking of Brandon playing drums at my place, I got good news and bad news. The good news is we're getting new heads finally.
Hey.
The bad news is it's coming out of your check.
Oh.
You are the reason we're getting new heads.
No, that means that I won't get a check.
No, we're not doing bottom heads, and I'm not going to touch the kick, but we had leftover snare heads because I got a variety for the studio, and the only one we used was the Evans coated snare. So I've got a reverse dot and a power hit yet to try. I want to try the reverse dot first, I think.
Yeah, throw that on there. And you've got the HD dry on there now. It sounds good.
Oh, well, yeah, actually, you know what? I got another one of those, too. We never used that.
That HD dry on there is just beat down.
Yeah, so that's gone. And I was going to get coated G2 heads for the toms, and then I thought right before I placed the order, I better check in with Anth, and he suggested getting the hydraulic, the EC2 hydraulic glass clear.
It's just hydraulic.
Yeah, just hydraulic glass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good call. They'll last forever.
Yeah.
Well, so the ones we had, the G2s have been on there for, no joke, 18 months.
The EC2s are on there, yep.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and they're just dying, because when I played there before, I could get them to sound pretty decent.
And they still sounded good 3 weeks ago, but yeah.
I just can't, for some reason, I can't get them to tune up. The 10-inch is still all right, but the 16 is done for.
All right, but yeah, don't forget rehearsals at 4:30, and maybe come a minute early, because I'm going to change them and tune them as best I can.
It's going to happen before Saturday.
I ordered them today. They'll be here Friday, but I won't be at work, so.
Do you want me to come over and do it?
If you want.
I've got time to kill.
Got a
if that'll
good...
get me out of
Don't say that on tape.
Appointments.
No worries. I'll come over and tune it up, and
Sweet.
It'll sound great. Yeah,
I'll have them close. I can never get the snares all the way there, and I always like a second pair of ears when I tune toms.
Yeah, I'll come at, I don't know, a little after 4.
Cool. That was sweet. And then what else is going on? I guess let's run through what we've been up to lately. I spent the day, not the whole day, but the afternoon today, reconditioning a Presonus ACP88 octuple compressor limiter gate unit.
Doorstop.
They're not my favorite compressor. They work. Actually, Brandon was asking before what it was I like about them, because he had one that he really liked, I guess.
It's not that I like necessarily, but it does the job, and it's in a very small amount of space.
It is. It's just not one of those ones like... I feel like there's a lot of compressors for live sound that you can just kind of wave your hand at it and get it doing what you want it to. And with the Presonus, you got to really...
Yeah.
You need to know exactly what you want out of it and set it precisely to do that. Or you get
It's like the
nothing.
Scarlet plugins.
Yeah, it's like... I wasn't sure what you meant about that kick drum, so I'm just not going to do anything. Or did you? I'm pretty sure you meant all buttons in. So it's just a little finicky, and the knobs are really tiny, and I'm getting old, and I'm bitter about getting bifocals, and I don't want to squint and see which knob is which. But no, ours was new with the building, so it's 11 or 12 years old now, and it just sat in this rack, and the air's really clean in there, and the temperature's really well regulated, the humidity. But when buttons and knobs and jacks sit still for a long time, oxidation builds up in there. So I sat down with my laptop in the amp room today, loaded up a YouTube concert. I think watched most of AC/DC, some live performance. I think it was the Ball Breaker tour. Watched all of a Ball Breaker set in Germany. Squirted some D5 in every jack, exercised it, swabbed it out, blasted all the innards out with clean air, lubricated the fan because that had started making that pleasant like noise when I switched it on the other day. and sprayed D5 on all the buttons, exercised those, and the pots were sealed, or at least, well, they were behind a board, and I was going to have to take every knob off, which I wasn't going to take 64 knobs and control nuts off to get, well, and it had nylocks on the back of it, 8 nylocks, 2 of which you can't reach because of the power supply. They really did a good job shoehorning it into a short little box, but seriously, could you have made that thing an inch deeper so I could get a wrench on
It is the point of it, though, I suppose. Being real
Who
small.
owns a 4-inch deep rack? For Pete's sake, there was a little room out the backside of that.
That's true.
So yeah. Anyway, but I got it working. I fired it up tonight. I ran 6 out of the 8 channels at rehearsal and ran like a champ. So I'm glad to have that back. Cool. I guess I'll have to wait to get my Drummer 4x compressor dealies. And let me see. The other thing I've been up to is, well, it's church. So the big Easter services are coming up. So we built some sets, and we're going to do some special lighting. And
I just noticed you put that post up about your new LED lighting on the panels there.
Oh yeah.
Also, this is painted wood with LED on the floor,
and it looks
pretty cool.
Yeah,
amazing.
I had no idea.
One of our guys
No
actually,
clue.
the first day we had those up, we ran the window shades down, dimmed the house lights, put up a queue. I turned one of those babies on, and not even all the chips. I just turned on the blue ones. And our youth pastor walked in, and he was going to go cuss us out to the finance guy. How come they get LED bars and I can't even get a new computer? Because it's just
They look like LED bars.
It's just strips
no
of wood.
joke. It's just strips of wood painted white.
I'm going to do a quick post on that because we
you
theoretically cover lighting and set and stuff too. Because a good sound man should be able to do it all. I'll take a decent picture of it this weekend and throw that up.
It was. I had no idea.
It looks pretty cool.
Yeah, it looks really cool.
Do a lot with a little.
Did you come up with that?
There's a website where churches that do different things for their sets, you can post your ideas for other churches to use. So we had seen those. They just look like a horizontal fence. They look like level meters, and
right,
they had some psych lights on it or whatever. So my boss was like, "Let's do that." So I was figuring out how to do it. I'm like, "Okay, well, I have these flats, and if I extend them, I can make it about 12 feet tall, and that should be good. It won't dwarf the musicians or anything." And then getting a couple other guys to collaborate. And what we did was take a 4x8 flat frame that was meant to have either, plywood shot onto it or canvas stretched over it. Stretched a bed sheet over it, a black bed sheet, $4 at Walmart, and then took furring strips, which is 1x3 lumber, but junky 1x3 lumber because it's not meant to show anywhere. Yeah. And we just stapled those on. And one of the other guys in the office had the idea to do it diagonally, and then make every piece he cut. He made 4 of the same pieces, so it's sort of broken up and asymmetrical, but half of them slant one way and half of them slant the other way, and each flat is identical, and 2 of them are mirror images, basically, is what I'm trying to say. So they it wound up looking pretty cool, and actually, it just keeps looking cool with the imagery we put on screen. Because I can either make them because they're white on black, I can throw LEDs on them and make them match the colors of the videos they're playing. Last week was Palm Sunday, so there was all they looked really cool against palm fronds. I turned the greens on.
Yeah, it looked great.
There were palms from wall to wall, and then these set pieces with these little horizontal or diagonal fingers. Oh, you got the bad mic. No, I got the bad mic again. What the heck?
It's the cable.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. What are the odds? Have you guys ever gotten the bad mic?
I got them once.
And I've gotten 12 times.
Yep.
Unreal.
It's you.
Of course, it's me. Well, they're my mics too.
You've got some weird electrical charge going on.
Whatever. So, hopefully it didn't blast out.
Being made of Mountain Dew and oatmeal cream pies. I feel you're just more prone to run electricity through.
Those were a special event. So anyway, well, I'll do a quick post about our set pieces because they cost next to nothing. Even if we had bought all the stuff new, we had flat frames laying around, we bought 4 bed sheets, we had furring strips laying around, we had paint laying around. You probably could have done that whole set for $100 if you went down to Home Depot to buy stuff starting from scratch.
And honestly, I had no clue. It really looked like LED strips. So if you did that with LED strips, it cost you, probably $500 or $600 if you home built them. If you bought them that way, it'd be even more.
LED strips, even if you buy them the naked strips, they're still pretty expensive.
You can buy them in.
For 30 feet of stuff.
You can get it cheaper on eBay. I've got a bunch. I'll have to show you some photos.
You do because we have some other stuff that those might be perfect for. So
yeah, you can get it.
That's
on
pretty
eBay.
cool.
And you can cut it apart with scissors, and it's really neat.
Nice. If it's DMX controllable, I'm sold. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to build a control. Have my intern minion build me a controller with his Arduino.
Yeah, it is. It's totally DMX controllable.
Did this thing just crack up again? No, I'm good. No, it pretty much did. All right, I'm just. Maybe if I hold it like this.
It looks like he's holding a trumpet right now.
I used to play.
Oh, maybe that's why you're holding it like that.
Old school brass man. And then I one more thing to throw out there, and then I'll stop talking, let you guys bring the news out. But I ran into a cat on Reddit who was like waving a little bit of cash around, like, "Hey, I really need help, remixing or mastering this or whatever. It's just not right." So I PM'd him, said, "All right, shoot me your stems." And we worked out a deal. It was like, "Well, we don't want to pay me." I was like, whatever. It's not really about the money. Like whatever cash you mentioned in your post, and if you like mine better than the other guys, then all good. So he sent me the stems, 2 of them. One of them was
both of them.
I got 2. I know it. I got one was like stereo shaker and hi-hat, and the other one was the everything else of a dubstep tune. And like they weren't banging loud. It was like, the mix came in at like -5 or -6. Yeah. But I had one stereo pair with, like all the drums, all the bass, all the wub 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 stuff, and the big drops and some synth. And I'm like, and the big problem was like I probably could have almost made it shape up to something, but at some point either he or somebody else had already like way over compressed the drops. So like those big, boom, like extended 808 hits were already like, they just sounded like a compressor dying, like that flappy sound that they get when you're like, when the phase distortion is just squishing
dubstep?
Out of it.
I thought that's dubstep. I thought that's the idea.
No, that's the wub wub. This was like flap. So like when there was a big wub, it was like,
I don't understand.
It's
the difference
technical.
in what you're talking about.
Pay attention, boy. I keep throwing them and you keep missing them. Nice kid, but the boy's about as sharp as a bag of wet mice. So anyway, so I was like, all right. I felt so like Dave Finsato, like when Dave Finsato sends him, like, "I'm sorry, man, I crushed it." And I'm like, whatever, send it over. But I was like, nope, you gotta break this out for me, son. So he did. He the next morning, I spent about an hour with it, messing with it. I was like, dude, I can make this louder. And I sent him a version, but I was like, I can do a lot better if you broke this up for me more. Like, I don't even care how you do it. Like, I'm not going to be specific. Like, just give me more separate to work with. And he did. Next morning, I got it, and I spent my lunch break tuning it up. And then to test it, on the ride home, I threw some Skrillex on, and because I just have a stock system in my car with a Pioneer deck, so I'm not like making the windows rattle or anything, but puts on a fair amount of bass. So anyway, I set Skrillex so that it's not like, it's just below making the the speakers fart out, like just before folding the cones. And then I put this dude's track on, and it was totally folding the cones. So I managed to make my stuff maybe not necessarily louder, but like more over the top than a properly produced dubstep track. So I got it home, and I cranked it back a little bit, sent it into him, and he liked it. And we actually wound up texting back and forth. Like this whole thing transpired with like just a couple of messages and emails back and forth. And then once I hit him with a final product and he was happy with it, we wound up texting back and forth like a couple of high school girls all night about like stuff in the business and how to make money off of your music and all this stuff. So anyway, it's really cool experience. And I just spoke to him a minute ago. Like he put the track up, and it got 50 hits already in a day on his little SoundCloud thing. So
nice. That
was pretty encouraging. And
it's good to hear SoundCloud actually works.
Yeah. So we don't usually pimp stuff too much, but I thought I'll throw a link up to it. When the podcast airs.
It sounds good.
I thought it was cool. Like, I'm not huge on electronic music, and I was digging it. Like, it made my head go up and down. Not like Motorhead, but
well, that's, Skrillex does it to me every once in a while. I'll get like
Skrillex was a rocker. That's why.
Yeah. I get in like a one-day mood where I'm like, wow, this sounds really awesome. But then the next day I'm like, well, it sounds like I'm at the gym now, so I'm going to stop listening to this. But like, really though, there is something to dubstep where like it really makes your head move. And then those drops really are cool. It's really neat. I don't get off on it like a lot of people do. But
well, and like anything else, like now there's sub genres of it. Like ones that are more like hippy dippy and trancy, and then like all the way over like on like the math metal, like what for us would be like the math metal, death metal side of things. Like there's a whole brand of hip hop that's just all about being as brutal as possible, and people that go to these shows don't even dance. Like, they just stand there and are assaulted by the sound system. And there's a whole new wave of sound like level of sound production where like you've got subs for your mid bass and your subs for your bass and your subs for your low bass, and then a whole lot of subs for the sub bass. Like,
And those cones, we don't start making any less than 36 inches.
yeah.
I
No,
want to start renting out to those shows. I don't know. We start renting PA.
It's a thing like that. I read a thing. I
Your
think it was
subs
on.
could run their tweeters. That's where you're getting at. Oh yeah, I've got a set of 18s. Oh great, those would be great for the tops.
I think
What
it was
else?
on. It was on Pro Sound Web. There's an article about a big DJ festival where, like, in the two main EDM venues, like this company that specializes in hip hop and DJ stuff came in and like did some real serious bass management. So like, you know, the cardioid effect is fully functional and like
I was gonna
stuff's
say,
not
man, I feel like that would just overlap and overlap and overlap.
Yeah.
done.
Until there's just like standing waves everywhere in the room.
But it can be done. Like, basically you have to throw like twice as many subs at it as you normally would and throw twice as much power at it to get the bass to go just where you want it to go. But apparently the payoff is just like face-meltingly huge, clean bass. Because bass when it's clean isn't bad. Like,
Yeah.
when it gets all like rattly and flappy and flabby, that's when it's not pleasant. But like clean, powerful bass and more of it, like you can just till your arms fall off, like till your internal organs start to fail. Like,
yeah, I mean, I'm not a big EDM guy, but I just want to hear it. Just to hear, like, as a sound guy, I want to be like, wow, what does that sound
Yeah.
like?
right. I always wanted to go to a dubstep show, and I thought, no, I don't. I just want to.
It'd probably be sweet at Showplace.
So I looked it up on YouTube. I found some Skrillex live dates, and it was all like cell phone video from out in the house. But one of them, it was a really small outdoor stage, like just a little 30-foot stage, probably less than 50,000 watts of PA, and the kid was really far away, so it wasn't like totally farting out the cell phone speaker, and you could hear all the kids singing a song without words, y'all. Like. It was.
How does that work?
Hum me
the
that
song
tune
was,
for
the song was
5.5
bangerang.
minutes.
So all you dubsteppers, like, you'll know this. Like, there's just, you can hear the 50 kids around him, like, they're all jumping up and down, like, wee whoa 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 wee whoa 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 wee, like,
I wanna see
all
those lyrics
together, all in
written down.
unison, like perfectly mimicking the whatever you call it, the wub wub sound. So anyway, I don't like. I mock everything, so don't take it personally, dubsteppers. I enjoyed the heck out of myself. Didn't think I would. Like,
You made fun of me so much in my own wedding. It's fair.
yeah. Well, you shouldn't have made me the best man. I was closest to you.
I got hit in the nuts while Amanda was walking down the aisle.
I gave you fair warning that I was going to do that too, and I got you.
yeah,
anyway.
but
Well, I mean, I kind of wish someone would have done that to me because I was crying when Liz walked down the aisle. And there are lots of pictures.
So was he, and then he was sobbing.
I was too. I got smacked in the nuts.
Like, oh, look at him! He went right to his knees.
oh, he loves me so much.
It was one of those
Wow,
things
he
like,
threw
dude,
up.
you're supposed. I mean, I didn't like the dress, but I did not like it that much. Good God. I'm so glad my wife's asleep.
And she doesn't listen to the podcast, I assume.
Every once in a while.
She's been on one.
Yeah, she's been on one or two.
But she's all in a family way, so she goes to bed early these days. All right, well, that's enough about me. We had burned
We don't
like
have
20
enough
minutes of the show
chairs in
already.
the living room to sit us all down.
So Brandon's got a big event coming up. He's losing his cherry.
Yeah. My arena cherry.
Yeah.
Totally out of nowhere. It's a friend's band who have gotten relatively large in the worship scene in New York State and Pennsylvania and kind of the Northeast area. I did a small show for him at Houghton College last week, and their regular sound guy is in his mid 40s and has a very young family and has a full-on day job. So he got busy, and my friend called me and said, "Hey, we've got these big shows and we need a sound guy, and I trust you, so let's come out and do this thing." So tomorrow, midday, I'm driving out to Syracuse to go to the Anth Center, which is their hockey arena there. The Syracuse Crunch play there. And it's a EAW line array and a Digidesign Avid SC48 console. And my wife's actually going to mix their in-ear monitors because she is, I don't know if I mentioned on this podcast yet, but she's also a sound gal.
I love it when it...
fixes my teeth in her spare time.
Yeah, she's actually a dentist in her real life, but she, in order to spend the time with me, like 5 years ago, she started going out on these shows, and she's actually got a great ear, probably a better ear than I do, to be totally truthful. and she's really good at mixing monitors because she's really good at paying attention, which is half the battle.
That's most of it, actually, when you're
Absolutely.
doing monitors.
Yeah, she's really good at just looking at the band and seeing what they want. And these guys actually aren't too bad either. And it's in-ears, so she doesn't have a whole lot of stage audio to deal with. So it's really easy to mix in-ears if you know the band. But yeah, it's gonna be pretty fun. I'm a little nervous, to be totally honest. I know you don't hear sound guys say that a whole lot. There's a lot of ego floating around, especially on the internet.
Steel balls, man.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm just gonna go in and be as confident as I can. I downloaded the SC48 software and I built my show. It turns out I've actually used a profile before, and I didn't really remember it. I used it on a recording, and I showed up and half the night was me trying to use the patch bay in the thing because I had no idea where anything was patched and no one was there to tell me.
Sounds like our last weekend.
It can be really, really nasty. And luckily I don't really have to deal with that. There's a system tech for this one. So I built up my show file. Hopefully I can drop it in and then really pay attention to the sound instead of the tech, which is really my aim here. I really want the band to sound great. I dialed up some YouTube videos from the show last year. This is a yearly youth convention, which is great. I'm not into the church scene like these two guys are. I don't really attend church that often and that kind of thing. But it just so happens that I've fallen in with the church scene, and it's actually been great.
Money from heaven.
Money from heaven. And to be totally honest, it is in a different world.
Oh yeah,
because the egos are there, but it's nothing like the national touring.
Oh, you just haven't gotten a good one yet.
You haven't met the right people.
I guess so.
The seedy underbelly of the worship scene is just.
Wait, it's actually worse.
It is.
Although I guess I kind of did.
I drank nothing but Perrier for years.
I guess Anthony
Perrier
knows.
and cocaine.
I'm not even going to mention the name of the band. We all know who I'm talking about. But I did end up doing sound for a local worship band a few years back who thought they were pretty much the bee's knees. We had no idea they were actually going to be at this show. We showed up. They said it was going to be a church service. We show up an hour before said church service thinking it would be a few wireless mics, maybe a CD feed, something like that. And it was relevant worship.
Gotcha, bitches.
Yeah, and we showed up and
I guess we could make do with 24 inputs if we have
their
to.
van and tour bus, or not tour bus, their van and trailer was there fully unloaded and had totally taken over our stage. It was already set up for the festival weekend, and we're like, oh, so
It was Friday and they
band.
didn't play until Sunday, and they were already loaded in. You guys are gonna have to backline.
Yeah, it was interesting, but you know what? It ended up being fine. I think it's just like any other. It doesn't matter what genre it is, as long as you approach it with a level head and you try and just make the show happen and make it sound good for everyone involved, including the band. I think it'll be fine. That and YouTube is my friend. So if I have any questions about the console and System Tech dude doesn't know, then I've got my phone with YouTube, and it'll get my questions answered.
I think I've got some Avid bucks somewhere.
Avid bucks.
Avid bucks. You can't call Avid with a question, not already have paid them.
Oh,
they
right,
just don't
yeah,
answer.
Yeah. I'm not going to call Avid. No, I'm not going to call them.
You can't even get connected to tech support without paying them $50.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my big news. I'm excited. It's my sound engineer big news. At least I'm excited.
Make sure you do a good job because your immortal soul is at stake here, brother.
I guess so. Yeah. The band will. Hopefully the band will hire me some more. I mean, Anthony and I are actually we're recording in a kind of a different note. We're recording them in an acoustic, not really a show. It's kind of like an acoustic session.
It's like an MTV Unplugged at somebody's house.
Yeah, exactly. Or like one of those AOL sessions from they were pretty popular for a while.
What's AOL?
Yeah, I know. Don't stare at me like that.
I'm sure we've got some discs around here that we're using as coasters.
Are you even old enough to remember that stuff?
Damn it, son! I had 100,000 free hours at AOL
when you were 6.
5. Yeah.
We got Anthony. I don't even know how Anthony got sucked into this deal, but Jay, the bass player for Oceans and Vessels, gave me a call and said, "Hey, we're doing this kind of like acoustic session thing for our fans. You know, we reached so many likes on Facebook, whatever it is, and we want to give them something. So we're gonna do this like living room session in this guy's house. So this guy apparently has 10 children, so it's a gigantic house, and it used to be a barn, so it's like 30-foot ceilings, and they've got a baby grand piano in the house. So Anthony and I are loading all our gear in my car in a couple weeks and rolling on down to
And some of John's gear.
and some of John's gear and some, I don't know, some gear from a bunch of places, and we're gonna make it sound real good in a living room, I can tell you that.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun. It's the band's doing well, and they're super, super cool guys. They're really great to work with, and they really love having someone who cares about them.
Yeah.
And they appreciate it.
Which is awesome.
They all gave me hugs when I left their show at Houghton College last week. They were so happy to have such a great sounding in-ear mix. They were like, wow, this is fantastic. You know, they just super great guys to work with. So I'm looking forward to the next couple of days and then this recording session with them. I think it's going to be really good for us, and you know, it'll give us.
Can't wait to master that.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
What are you working on, Anth?
I'm just trying to keep my cursing at a minimum with Pro Tools this week.
You ready to try Reaper?
No.
Oh, do either of you know if Reaper will work with an Avid SC48?
I'm pretty sure only Avid works with Avid.
No, I don't think that's.
They're starting to support everything else.
Really?
Because it's the other way around. If you think about it, Reaper's got to support the console. It's not the console supporting Reaper.
You should be able to use it with just about any DAW. I think that's the deal.
I hope so.
Although I'm not up at all on Avid stuff, so whatever.
It's like the least of their worries if they get it multi-tracked, but if I can multi-track it from the console, that'd be really sweet.
Yeah. Thursday. No, I need my stuff. I was just gonna say I'll just give you my stuff.
Nah, no, I'm not gonna worry about all that. I think if I can just get the tracks off the console, I'll be super happy. And I think if you think about it, Reaper should just accept it as an
input. Right?
As an input, is some input hardware.
What does it have for? Does it have a USB or a FireWire out?
FireWire,
option?
yeah.
If you can FireWire it to a MacBook, you should be fine. Reaper's pretty good about seeing, like, you might not get all the functionality, but it's pretty good about, like, even without drivers loaded, seeing something, almost anything as a set of inputs.
Yeah, it's like an ASIO or whatever. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I hope. We'll see. I'll report back if that does work or not.
Cool.
I'm actually pretty excited that our Easter service is not crazy this year. I think this is the first year, and I don't know, definitely since I've been working at the church, and probably far before that it hasn't been like, it's a church. Christmas and Easter we go over the top because that's when everybody shows up. Like, it's not that we don't put any effort into the rest of the year. It's just, that we know
the main events.
Right, yeah. Like, that at least usually, 75% more people are going to show up than normal to get their Jesus on and all that stuff for whenever the end of days rolls around, everybody shows up. But I think we're doing 2 extra songs.
We got a heavy set list, too.
We both of us are bringing different drummers than usual. You guys hired somebody good. We hired somebody good.
All our guys were busy. Busy or sick or couldn't make it or whatever. But Brian just pointed out to me, like, I hadn't really caught on to this, but like, we usually have 6 or 7 songs in a service, and this week we have 8. But normally we don't put in more than 2 blockbusters. Like, one of those ones that just, the place breaks out in applause and people are hooting and hollering. Every song on the list is a blockbuster this week. I'm a little bit scared about our building. Like, I don't know if we're going to need crowd control.
He told me about the window shades for that one tune.
Yes. We've done it on more than one, too. We just do this thing. We have a lot of windows in the back of the room up high in the balcony, and that's the only daylight coming in. Oh, they're pretty big windows. They don't look big because you can't get close to them, but they're actually like 6 by 6. So
there's like 6 or 8 of them aside.
There's 6 of them aside. So 36. I don't know, there's like 500 square feet of glass up there, and with automated shades on them. So we do this thing where when it's getting towards the end of the service, I think actually we did it on Easter last year. That right at the high point of a song, I flip around and hit the switches for those, and instead of having to like do a big,
and the Holy Spirit busts.
Yeah,
right
instead of doing
in.
like a the heavens open light cue, we just open the windows and let daylight come in, and it's pretty effective. The first time I did it, people thought it was the rapture.
Brian actually was saying that earlier. He's like, yeah, some guy came up and he's like, yeah, my mom really thought that it was the rapture. She had her eyes closed, and all of a sudden it was this bright white light, and she had no idea what it was.
Because they're behind the crowd.
Yeah.
So you need to start putting warnings on those, like on roller coasters. Like, strobe lights are in effect. If you have epilepsy, don't come in.
Holy Ghost fire in effect this service.
Oh, God, if you do the spirit chimes at the same time,
No, I don't use any of that crazy stuff.
you're not allowed to ring the Holy Spirit's doorbell.
We have a set.
Oh, they're right next to my head. I know. I never use them. I don't know. It's weird.
You didn't get baptized, did you?
No.
Yeah, there you go.
So wait. So being baptized makes me want to use chimes?
Makes you eligible.
Oh. I can't even touch the wind chimes. Apparently, I would try, but
That's
the
because
spirit
to
would hold
you
me back.
they're wind chimes to you.
Oh,
To us, to those of the initiate, they are the Holy Spirit's doorbell. And we say that in jest, but there are people who have said that to us in all seriousness.
I said that in all seriousness. Oh, Bram's got way more heaven points than us this week.
What is it with you and Kingdom Bucks, Avid Bucks, Heaven Points?
It's an AG thing.
Get your card punched. You guys really do keep
freaking
track
flyers.
You keep track of everything down there, don't you?
Oh, that's the problem with working at a Pentecostal church and having Jew roots. So we just numbers and stuff.
John, Brian was saying that. What do you call the sun? I call it one of my buddies coined it, but he calls it the GL 5000, the Godlight 5000, because you can never, like on a festival, you can never light up anything during the day because the GL 5000 is too powerful.
My friend Matt Dacey, in every show he has ever done, to my knowledge, has reserved channel 1 of the first DMX universe out of respect for the sun. He's like, don't patch anything on 1. That's for the sun. So we'd come walking out for a lunch break, from a full departmental call. Like everybody be putting their shades on and their hats. We're like, oh, somebody, can we get channel 1 at a glow? Cool that out, please.
Blackout.
All right, I'm flipping open my notebook here.
What happens when you hit chase on that?
You don't want to chase on that.
I think that's the dawning of the age of Aquarius or some crazy hippie shit like that.
Swear jar.
Sorry, it's a family show. All right. So we covered dubstep, we covered live stages. That's like 2/3 of the stuff on my list. We're gonna have to punt. No, we're not.
No, we got Riders was always a back.
Oh yeah, we'll get to Riders eventually. I wanted to bring up an interesting thing. Apparently, and I can't believe it, I didn't know this because I do more theater work than anybody. Although I'm usually the most advanced guy in the room. I work on a lot of fairly big budget, but still community or high school stuff. Apparently, the dual hang is a big thing in high-end theater. Like the Dave Rat dual hang thing that he does for the Peppers, where like
Interesting.
half of the instruments are in one hang and the vocals are in the other one, and the drums and the bass are in both of them. Apparently, a couple of Broadway houses and like the bigger West End houses in London are all doing this, and the reason is basically the same. You wind up with a clearer thing, but they patch everything out and probably scene per scene to get it so that actors who are near to each other on stage have their mics going through different sound systems, so there's not any of that weird phasiness that you get when two actors on labs are close to each other. It does away with that.
I wonder, like, as that's becoming more popular, I'm sure it's fully functional in a digital world, but I wonder if they'll make an analog desk with split outs like that, where you can just
Dave Rat always did it.
Well, without
Analog.
using like aux sends or anything like
Matrix outs.
Just
that.
Groups. The Heritage, I don't know how many groups it has on it, but
But
it's a buttload.
Like 12,
Is it 12? I think it's 12.
but it's got a bunch of. It's got 8 matrices.
Right, but I mean, but still, even just direct out instead of just a regular left, right, center, or left, right sub.
I think he might have just split his outputs.
No, because it's different stuff.
Yeah, it would.
Oh right, yeah, that doesn't make sense.
Like if you could independently route just from the desk without screwing with anything else, like you can still keep all your monitors the same and all that stuff.
Well, you
independently.
You could if you use the Matrix out. Like you would just have to burn two or four groups to do it.
Right,
Like you could could still use the left right group as one set, and then like your 11 and 12 groups.
I just mean like something
the other
totally
ones.
dedicated.
Yeah, I guess
Just
so.
for that. I mean,
Probably not.
But that's
never
exactly why
happened.
there's a Matrix on the desk. So you just,
Right.
there's a matrix because 16 monitor sends wasn't enough for me.
I have a hard time using Matrix outs for monitors.
I love using them because
Well, but you have a Yamaha, so Yamaha Matrix buses are unique in the industry in that they're like transformable. on analog desks.
There's so
anyway.
many things that are transformable on that board, and I wish they would all transform off for good.
Too bad they're not transformered. Sorry, that was poor.
Just make you kind of wish that thing would change into a truck and drive off, or transform into a
Transform into one of the broken ones and just start on fire in the driveway. Like,
I'm pretty sure you can make that happen, man.
I'm not. I don't have to work.
It transformed into a Pinto and blew up.
A Pinto with 2.5 wheels. Yeah.
The double hang thing I've seen, although Dave Rat doesn't do it anymore.
Really?
It's just too much. It's too expensive. It's
Well, yeah, when
How
you're
much
using
is
the
each one of those?
flagship VDOS.
K1.
Each one of those hangs costs how much?
Well, his are $250,000 a piece.
Right. So
per
$1 million.
stereo hang. So double that.
Well,
Half
plus-
a million for the tops, plus amps.
and then figure there's probably 2 rigs, so they can.
That
have
includes
one,
amps
Oh, okay.
because he flies
That's
the amps
Rex
for
instead.
shorter
Right,
cable runs.
right.
But assuming you got 2 trucks or 2.
No, the Peppers don't.
No? Oh, okay.
Because they, well, at least on the last tour they didn't, because they had all the K1 boxes in Europe on their tour. So
Because there's only like
there were 2 rigs, and the Peppers needed both of them for their one rig, and that was the end of that for anybody else that wanted to play with VDOS that year.
Yeah, no one knew. I mean, he doesn't do it anymore just for logistical purposes. It's just too much.
Hard to
carry
get it
around.
past the accountants.
Yeah, I mean, even the Chili Peppers accountants, because while it would be audible to him and audible to maybe 12 people in the crowd, I think most people are pretty much happy with a K1 rig as it stands because it's beautiful.
That was the thing.
sounding.
I heard, even listening to his mix over the internet, I caught the Peppers set at Bonnaroo on YouTube, and it was
and that's at Bonnaroo. That's a festival.
yeah, on a festival stage.
That's
It sounded
not
phenomenal.
easy. That's super, super hard to make sound good. And he's just one of those freaks of nature that just can make anything sound good because he's so zen about it.
Actually, I wouldn't be surprised if he had. Is Bonnaroo one of the festivals that he does Coachella every year?
He does
do Bonnaroo
Coachella. He
too?
doesn't do Bonnaroo.
All right, but he may have been able to spec. I never looked up
Oh,
what the
I'm
specs were.
sure.
But when the Chili Peppers are the headliner at Bonnaroo, I think
He's
they
spec.
yeah.
But even still, even he can make a VDOS rig sound fantastic. He can make a Vertec rig sound great, which is not easy to do. I was actually really worried I was going to have a Vertec rig tomorrow.
That's what I thought you were getting.
Yeah.
That's what I really thought I was getting. and I was,
Vertec and PM5D.
yeah, that's exactly what I thought I was going
Although,
to get.
if you spec lab group and amps, they sound a whole lot better.
Yeah, that's actually surprisingly enough what Indigo has. They've got 5 racks worth.
Seb has that set up too.
The 10,000s?
Wait, how much is it? 60,000. I think it was a 100,000 watt stage fit in a 24 space rack. That was all the amps.
That lab
Because
stuff sounds
every 2 spaces is
incredible.
10,000 watts.
Yeah. I mean, that lab stuff really sounds amazing.
It does for lightweight amps. They're freaking amazing. 2,500 watts a channel into 4 times 4 per box. 2 rack spaces.
I've never had luck with 4-channel amps. Just, I'm sure.
Because you buy the Yamaha ones. That's your problem.
I did not buy the Yamaha ones. I got the Yamaha
Or what
ones.
did you get the Carvin ones for? Because they made them too.
No, I don't know. I know we had a Carvin. I know we had a couple Yamahas. So you're like, well, yeah, if it's in the same space and it's 4 channels and it costs exactly the same as the Crown K2s that are only 2 channels. Like, well, did you think about any of that? Do you think there's a reason? Maybe that double the amount of stuff costs actually less than.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Well, it's all broken.
Yeah, I get to use some iTech, I guess, the next couple days, which is fine.
Yeah.
But I'm used to hearing KF760s with lab stuff, so it'll be interesting to actually hear the difference. Although I've never heard the KF760 rig with the lab stuff in an arena, so it'll be a different world altogether. But I'm surprised. We were mentioning this before the podcast, but like I said, I did some YouTubing and it's loud.
Yeah.
Like for a festival, like a youth convention thing. I was expecting, maybe like 93 dB in front of house, but it's no joke in there.
We run church at 94.
Same, me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, for youth events, I would say 102 would be the baseline. 104.
I'm happy at 98, so 103 would be disgusting. It'd be
And I
fun.
expect you if they actually read my rider, you're getting some good mics in there too.
Oh yeah. They've got they carry a mic kit. It's a
okay,
good
that's
mic kit, so that'll at least tell me. And they're the only ones playing Thursday, and the other one's playing Friday. The other band doesn't play till Saturday morning, so it's like I can do whatever I want with that room for the most part. Which is great.
I went to drop off my QSC PLX monitor amp that just stopped working in the middle of service on Sunday night when I wasn't there. I dropped it off to this guy, the shady guy that works up by the train tracks in Buffalo.
Is that the guy that heats his shop with old macro techs?
That guy didn't have this
true story. Y'all listen to this.
This is where Gordon goes to take his crests to get fixed, because Gordon only buys American-made crests that they don't make anymore, and they'd probably start on fire more than we know, but they can live through it. They're good about that. But called this guy because that's who QSC told me to call. They're like, "Oh yeah, your amp's still under warranty. Just take it in." This guy's authorized, and I called him. He's like, "Yep, yeah, I'm here. Just ring the doorbell when you get here." Yeah, ring the doorbell. Hear some muttering around upstairs. Like it's just this building that's probably twice as long as my house, and it's just flat, brown, gray. Like there's no
railroad tracks
right across from the railroad tracks. Like if you walk across the street, you walk into the hill that the railroad tracks are on, and there's a guy peeks his head through like just iron bars. Like I was like, I have an amplifier for you. Like, okay.
Do we do this one on the air last week? Or were you telling me this just?
I think I was just telling you this, but
just want to make sure we didn't double up.
Walk in, and this guy's just, no joke, like wall-to-wall macro and micro techs, like old ones. And they're just on, heating the place. Place is still cold, but I don't, like the guy's running like, I don't know, maybe 1 million watts of amps just hanging out around the like
weird.
Yeah, there's just like he's got a room of like, because he recones speakers too, so he's got a room of 18s, a room of 21s, a room of 15s, a room of 12s. This like
that's really confusing.
Like I think it'd be cool to get into fixing all that stuff later, but I don't want to be that guy.
What's his name?
Mark or Mike. Buffalo Pro Sound.
Wow, I've never heard of that.
Yeah, there's no sign out front. It looks like an abandoned house.
Well, that's the way to do it. If you've got 1 million watts worth of Macrotech in there.
Yeah, he knows exactly what he's doing. Like, guy's brilliant. There's certain stuff that, like, when you see a guy wearing, like, okay, everybody's got a Whirlwind hat. I've got a Whirlwind hat. You got a QSC jacket. Dude's got a Myers Sound hat, and it doesn't say anything on the front. Just says MyersSound.com on the back. You're like, all right, he's serious.
That's weird. I wonder if he does anything around here, if he just repairs stuff.
I think he just does repairs. Like he does service calls and stuff.
That would be a really weird life, wouldn't it? Living in your like railroad home.
Sure, rent's cheap.
It's got to be.
Like it's not in a great part of town, but hey, he called me back. He's like, he just looked at it. He's like, yeah, it's shot. I'll get you a new board. But like that was it. He's like, I'll call you when it's in.
Hey, at least he called you.
Right?
That's a step above a lot of repair houses.
Yeah. He's super shady about it, though. He's like, can I call you back? I got somebody on the other line. Like, he click back over. He's like, yeah, could I have the whatever soup with it? I was like, I think you meant to click over. He's like, yeah, let me ring you right back. And just hung up on me. Called me back 5 minutes later. Like, I don't know who this guy is, but I like him. He fits right up there with Fender Frank.
He's who we aim to be. We want to be the crotchety old guy in the bad part of town who is a wizard for whatever you have that's old and broken.
Like there's that guy that you take it to. Like we've got a couple organ guys in Buffalo, but
only a couple anymore.
Like, and there's one guy and his name's Sal, and he's a freaking monster. Like he is the Hammond whisperer. Just open it up, sniff around a little bit while it's off, be like, oh yeah, this is wrong, and like just whip out the part out of his pocket and put it in, and it works fine. All right, $100. That's it, gone.
Why do you think I'm an electrical engineer, by the way, John?
All right, get ready. This is when we're old and gray, which is not too much.
I'm already gray, so
yeah, me too. And I need bifocals, so I'm getting to that point. But yeah, that's going to be our retirement jobs, fixing. Once Fender Frank and these other guys pass on into that great gig in the sky, we're going to take over as the crotchety old fix your stuff guys.
Sweet.
Just hang out in basements and we're like, yeah, fix it. Bring it over. Bring a cigar and a live chicken.
A live chicken.
Like the voodoo man. Like, anyway, Usually that joke does better. Sorry, everybody. It's pretty late.
It's usually drawn out to a cigar, a live chicken, so many ounces of.
Well, I used to actually say, I think I said that at a Relevant gig. Like somebody's amp or guitar broke. Be like, yeah, I can fix that. Clear out of the dressing room. I'm going to need a live chicken, a cigar, Pete's girlfriend, and my soldering iron. And about 45 minutes.
Guy went out and bought a new amp the next day. Didn't want to deal with that again.
Actually, what was it? No, that was that when yours was on the fritz?
Mine?
When the bias circuit went bad on your hot rod?
Which time?
The time that I tried to fix it.
Is that what you have? Is that a hot rod?
Yeah. A little sunburst guy. Yeah, but JFK did like an overhaul on it, so it's like not as much of a hot rod deluxe as it used to be.
They had to sacrifice a few parts.
He's just like, this overdrive circuit sounds like crap. I'm just gonna put a new one in. Like, oh, all right. He's like, I already did it. Don't worry about it. Oh, okay. Still haven't used it. Probably sounds good.
So now it's a Franken hot rod.
A little bit.
Well, I'm using my cab with it.
Yeah. Well, the speaker's shot in it. Like, I took it in to get it retubed and stuff. Because I can retube an amp and rebias it. That's not a big deal. But when there's all kinds of circuit board in there, I don't want to spend the time going through that. Like, this guy, I give him $100 and it's done.
Yeah.
$100 plus if there's any parts on top of the tubes and the bias cap. Like, so took it in, got it back. He's like, all right, you're all good. Everything checks out. Played it. It's fine. Got it back. Plugged it in, played it, heard more crackling, and called back. I was like, dude, you changed both the preamp tubes or just one? He's like, just the one, because that's the only one that was bad. He's like, what is it doing? Let's make this crackling noise. He's like, what year is that? It's like, it's 2003. He's like, there's probably Jensen special design in that, right? Turn around. Yep. Yeah, your speaker's blown. That was it. That's all I got.
Well, I'm glad I built that cab then.
Yeah.
It actually sounds pretty good through that thing.
It does. It's surprising.
Who thought two little PV 8-inch speakers?
Yeah, it doesn't do real well with low end, but for the Fender, it's great.
Yeah, it does a good job with your guitar tone.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't try and run anything nasty through it, but you know,
For the clean stuff, it's fantastic.
I actually built it as a bass cab.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was interested to hear a bass. I still haven't heard a bass through it, but I was interested to hear it.
Maybe next week we'll drive it. Throw an Ampeg SVT through that sucker. Let it sing.
I always wanted to do. Actually, we talked about this last time when you told me about that speaker. I've always wanted to build like a mini stack with like 4 4s in it. Yeah. Build 2 of those boxes and just to see what it would do.
It could probably sound pretty cool, to be totally honest.
Yeah. Well, because you get the what is it?
You get the couplings and
they couple, so it's roughly equivalent to what the total surface area of all the cones is. So
yeah,
theoretically, if you get beefy enough 4-inch cones and put enough of them in there, you could actually have a pretty decent cabinet.
All right, I found my next project. It's on
4-inch cones.
Said Mr. Disposable Income. Yeah, guess which one of your 3 presenters has no children?
But is also living on student loans.
Thank you, Uncle Sam.
Yeah. Until I have to pay him back, then damn you, Uncle Sam.
Yeah. Did we just run out of gas?
Yeah.
He was staring at the magic box.
Pat Robertson's very intriguing. Look at that man.
You need to stop smoking whatever it is you're smoking.
That is an amazing comb over.
Great, now we're all entranced. All right, I'm going to see if I can yank this thing back onto the rails here. Let's see. We just wrapped up.
Done.
Yeah, we are. I'm going to do a little bit of fishing here. We're been hearing from some friends. We got a couple nice ideas from our friend Eike from Germany. He contributed to Book Week, which we just wrapped up.
Cool.
Brought out all our Dead Tree reading materials, and got a couple other nice submissions. So that was cool to hear from y'all. And anything that didn't get posted this week is getting stored away in a folder. We had a couple submissions come in for Mic Trick Week. The next time we do Mic Trick Week is those will be coming back out. So it seems like, again, the mini podcast things, you guys really like those. So we're going to, unfortunately, we got really busy. We haven't had a chance to make any more, although we have some ideas for some coming up. So anyway, who's got the winning idea for what the next week of posts we should put up on the website should be? I didn't necessarily mean people in this room.
All right. Well, let's listen to what Pat Robertson's got to say. Maybe he's got an idea.
Yeah, why don't you email and find out? Is this live?
He's talking about graven images, so Graven Image Week.
Yes. Oh, boy. But anyway, if there's a topic that we could easily milk a week's worth of posts out of, it's just so hard this time of year. This
So lazy.
Christmas and give me a lazy. Like, how many posts have you done in the last year?
One.
Okay, I did
Almost as many as me.
I did the other 329.
It's true.
Nah, Carl helped a bunch once upon a time. But no, it helps us think now these days that to get on a single topic and kind of run with it for a week is nice, and we get some nice contributions. Basically, it's good to hear from you guys. And once we get onto something for a couple of days and people start writing in, that really helps us out a lot and helps us think of things that we wouldn't have thought. Like that one picture alone that Ika sent us in of his stack of audiobooks, which I don't know if that one aired today, which for you guys is 4 days ago. If you're listening the day that this went. Never mind. I'm not going to go into the. For anybody who's ever read the
math, son.
The Hitchhiker's Guide, we're going to need Dr. Street Mentioner's book of tenses to.
Wow, good reference.
You got that? Sweet. I'm not going to explain it to anybody else. If you read it, you know.
I'm right
I'm
here.
a Hitchhiker's Guide fan.
You haven't read the Hitchhiker's Guide?
No.
How are we friends?
I ask myself the same question a lot.
So what do you say?
You keep the cats happy when you sleep on the couch. I don't know. I don't know what you do. They're all kinds of happy when they go upstairs in the morning.
I got the good stuff.
I'm gonna leave that alone.
Well, the big backpack has my stuff in it, and the little bag is full of catnip. That's how I get by.
He has a Pelican case full of catnip.
It's the airtight seal that saves my life. All right.
Look at, you see Bones perk out. He's what? Huh? Drugs? Where?
And crinkle a cheeseburger wrapper for him. All right, no, we're going to stay on topic. We're doing this. We're going to get out of here. So anyway, said that. If you have the next great idea for what our week's series should be, let us know. Otherwise, we're just going to... Basically, what is it? It pays off for you to come up with these ideas, because if we don't have a series to do, then I usually only write 2 or 3 posts a week. But if it's fill-in-the-blank week, you're pretty much guaranteed to get 5 posts out of it. So if you like reading, and please keep in mind there are no stupid questions. We could even do a stupid questions week. Maybe that'll be the next thing.
That's a good idea.
All right, I'm going to start setting it up. I'm going to make a plea, and when I get 5 stupid questions, I will answer them, because there really aren't any stupid questions.
I've got 5. I've got 5 right now for you.
About audio.
It's full of my brain's full of stupid questions.
Why can't you use a MIDI to 3-phase adapter?
You should.
Maybe
Smart to Noise fully sanctions and in fact recommends the use of MIDI to 3-phase adapters.
We don't have that kind of insurance.
It sounds even better at 480. Just saying.
Just wrap it all the way up. Get
And the funny thing is, if you're going to use one of those, you don't know what it means. So please, by all means,
hit the Smart to Noise gift shop. Hit our online store.
Dave Rat sells those mic sniffer kits. We're going to start selling.
We're going to sell 3-phase adapters. And for Yamaha users, external power supplies with Camlock. Camlock adapters for your Yamaha.
It goes right into those 12 matrices.
Fix that puppy up real good.
did you see? Speaking of Yamaha, that they're offering their new Digi console for a 72-hour free trial run? It's the CLD.
I don't want to spend.
It's the CLD, whatever it is, and it's gotten some crazy reviews from a bunch of dudes who are.
Does that include the insurance costs?
Yeah, you don't pay anything. But although you have to probably go to the Bronx to get it because it's the closest it is to us. But
do not want.
I mean, I'd like to play with it for 3 days. Why not?
Because it's a Yamaha.
Well, I mean.
Sorry,
It's got
haters gonna hate. I don't hate many things, but I hate Yamaha consoles.
He really
sorry.
does.
If you're a Yamaha fanboy, I'm sorry. Like, let's just agree to disagree. I really hate them. I'm sorry you love them. We can all get along still. It's cool. But I just
Where John?
The thing is, they just don't sound good to gaijin ears. We've been over this before. Like, British consoles have a sound. American consoles have a sound. So do
Japanese
ones, and it's just
It's not good.
Listen to Japanese pop music. That's the sound of Yamahas. It's all sharp and angular and not at all like warm or round. And that's Yamaha through and through. It's a cultural difference. I'm not bashing anybody here. I'm just saying.
I'm going to talk to Brian and be like, hey, I hear you guys are looking for a digital console. I hear Yamaha's got this free 3-day trial. Maybe you guys should get this in here. And he'd be like, oh yeah, we should get this in here.
Watch John wreck his
I know
back
where you
again
live,
for 2
punk.
months.
You do, actually. You know where I
I
live.
feel like the day you have a Yamaha console delivered to my place of work is the day it comes flying through the picture window on the front of your place.
I wish I had a picture window.
I will
would
get
be-
that thing on the deck of the box truck. I will roll the door up and reverse as fast as that sucker will go, jam the brakes, and you will be wearing that thing. Oh, I'm so glad that my mic is spiking.
He's really upset right now.
He gets excited real easy.
Totally ruined the podcast.
Oh,
Anyway,
that was funny.
Not that it was that much beforehand, apparently, but all right. I keep trying to wrap this thing up. We're gonna make an hour. We're gonna just never mind.
Did you see? Do you guys get the Pro Sound Review magazine?
No.
The Elton John's got a
Oh wait, the Pro Sound Web.
it's the same.
Okay, it's all the same articles.
Yeah.
I guess I read them. By the time the paper copy makes it to my desk, I've already read them all.
Yeah. So you saw the thing about Elton John in Vegas. He's got his $1 million piano.
Yep.
It's actually pretty cool because the dude's running analog for the house.
Yeah.
And,
A Yamaha analog.
Yeah. Yamaha analog.
PM 5Ks.
Yep.
Or, no.
Yep.
4Ks?
5K.
K5.
He's got
The
two
letter,
of them.
The letter comes first.
The drummer has a Soundcraft GB8, 32 channel GB8
Mixing his
for
own
his
way.
own mix. I was,
He does his own submix? Or?
Yeah, I was
his own
really kind of
ears.
confused.
Oh.
He mixes his own ears.
That's
Yeah.
cool. I've seen that.
But I guess when you got a residency like that, you're just there always. Then
Makes
you
it
just
easy.
kinda, yeah,
Then you don't have
just
to
leave-
hire a tech. Just buy the console outright, and it'll pay for itself after.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It was, but although he's the only one, and then everyone else on stage is using stereo in-ear mixes that are off of some kind of digital desk. I don't remember what.
No, I think the ears are off the same. I think it's matching desks for monitors in front of house.
It's not.
not?
It's a digital desk. Yeah, I was kind of confused because their whole deal was that he was running analog, but then the monitors were digital. But I mean, apparently Elton John likes it really, really loud, like disgusting, blow your eardrums loud. And
Right, it's all wedges, right?
yeah, he's got 4 wedges around his piano position, and 2 of them are just his voice, and the other 2 are the band mix, and it's just crazy loud. And the monitor tech actually was like, "Yeah, I don't even really like to be there. It's just too loud." That's a heck of a job, though, trying to dial that in and make it not feed back onto his vocal mic.
I'm actually worried about a couple of my guys at work. We were talking about it after the rehearsal tonight that if I throw on the cans and punch my boss's monitor mix, I can't turn it up to the point where I can comfortably hear the vocals and the instruments because the click track is like, it blows the cans off my head. I'm like, how do you shove something into your ear canal and listen to this?
And it
He's like,
sounds
well, I
like
don't turn it all the way up. I'm like,
The click track is really like someone's got a wood block in your face.
it's pretty.
It's
intense.
loud
Hurts.
and it's piercing. So you really don't need it up that loud. I don't know where I'm at on the console. I haven't even looked at my own mix on your console, but
It's pretty low.
yeah, it
But
can't be that
I have
loud.
to absolutely slam the click. Like the click is hitting higher than plus 12 on the input so that I can raise it up high enough for a couple of my players.
Holy cow.
I know. I'm a little.
That's a little scary. I mean, maybe they've only got their pack up like 10%.
Well, my boss does, but the other guy, like, he had his pack maxed out, and I had a 6 dB boost built into it. So, like, the click's slammed. His mix is on the peg. Like, the meter on his, when a song starts, it goes all the way up and stays there until the song ends, and then it comes down.
How could that possibly sound good?
I'm not worried about it sounding good. I'm worried about it hurt. Like my ears are hurting thinking about how loud
like,
that is.
you look at it, well, it's Trevor. Like, you look at Trevor's mix, and you're like,
really?
who's the deaf guy?
He doesn't. Well, I guess I don't know him. I played with him for about 2.5 hours. I don't really know him, but I mean, he doesn't. He's young. He doesn't look deaf. I mean, it's normally the old guys who are just deaf as stumps because they've been doing this for 30 years. But
Yeah. No, I've got a couple of those too. But even those, like the
and he's
new
not even
ears
standing
fixed
next
a
to
lot of
me.
it.
Right.
He's all the way
I wonder if
across
there's
the stage.
something wrong with his ears or something like that. Because
Maybe.
like full scale everywhere, front to back, and 6 dB boost on the pack, like that's twice as loud coming out the buds.
How? Do you know what kind of ears he's using?
It's a Sennheiser
V11s.
G3. No, he's got Shure 315.
So it's nothing crazy.
Yeah,
No, they're like.
Some of those like custom mold suckers are really high impedance.
So you have to mold it? No, he doesn't have the custom molded ones. But no, he's got like they're $300-$400 buds. Like they're not slouchy buds. They're dual driver at least.
But they're not the custom. Some of those like weird custom mold manufacturers are really high impedance. So you have to like slam the mix to push it through those drivers.
You know what? Him and Brian both have the 315s, and everybody else has the 215s.
I wonder if that's why.
If I'm quoting the numbers right, I got to look that up.
Do they play with one ear out?
Brian does. I don't know if Trevor does or not. Yeah,
because that could be
I haven't
an
noticed
issue
that.
with Brian's. But
yeah. Well, Brian listens through the house a fair amount. Like he listens to the reflections coming back, so we can hear how things are going out there.
I actually just heard an interesting. I have to find the article. I read a quick chunk of it the other day. But you apparently playing music with one ear out is really bad for you. Yeah. It really messes with your head in the long run. Mm-hmm. So if you try and like, listen in cans, or you try and have like an acoustic without ears kind of performance, it really messes with your sense of
your perception.
If you do it with the same ear, like what I started doing is because I don't have great ears. I switch.
What do you mean you don't have great ears?
You have the. I don't know another human being with better hearing than you.
You weird me out sometimes.
Like the buds that I put in my ears.
Oh, the ear. I was going to say.
The earphones. Yeah, okay. All right, continue. Sorry.
Bitches. No, I've got the free Shure ones that came with my boss's in-ear wireless pack because she didn't use them. So they're like the Shure 215s or whatever. So they're not great ears, but it sound like my Avions are driven off a Yamaha, so super cold, driven by super cold means ice pick cold in my ears. So what I started doing is 1 week I play with my left ear in, 1 week I play with my right ear in, and I alternate. And that, I mean, it's fairly like the same volume, and I haven't had, because when I was doing, I would only keep in my left ear for a while, like for 2 or 3 months at a time, then I noticed that I had no high frequency left in my left ear.
It'll mess with your brain too, like rewire it after a while.
Yeah, so, and even sometimes halfway through a service, I'll switch, and one ear will sound super clear, like with certain stuff, like my guitar will sound dirtier in one ear than the other, but everything else will sound great in that ear, or the drums, or something like that.
I find I've got, like, my left ear is kind of bass-driven, and my right ear is kind of high-driven.
Yeah.
So if I pull out my, like, if I wear cans when I play with John's church, so if I take off my left can, then I've got no low end.
Right.
All I can hear is, like, the high-end stuff. So if I put the can back on, I've got the low end. But if I pull the right ear off, I've got no highs. It's really bizarre, and it kind of threw me for a loop the first couple times I did it. Yeah. It's kind of a new revelation for me. It's strange.
That's when I went and got my hearing tested because I thought I was going deaf. That's what they told me, is that I had certain frequencies were just a little bit better in one ear than the other. Huh. But because I'm so sensitive to it, it throws
stereo
like,
image, yeah.
Yeah, it's drastic. Like where most people wouldn't hear a difference at all.
I wonder if that's why.
Freaks me out.
Yeah, that's weird. Because you and I, and John too, we're all used to very well. John listens to a mono mix all day long, so I don't know if that's.
But I'd like to hear in stereo.
Yeah,
he tries real hard.
Someday I'll be a real boy.
He pretends.
Oh yeah, you can come over to my place and mix in stereo anytime
on a Yamaha.
you want.
Oh yeah,
can I bring my own desk? I have a Mackie laying around
there.
Oh yeah, my Soundcraft's upstairs.
That'll do it.
Plunk. Hey, this Yamaha is the perfect shape to hold up my Soundcraft.
Just take a couple 2x4s, jam it right through the monitor section.
There's, you
go and sort out my 16 channels of AVIs, and you're.
Oh, he's sad now. Look at him.
You gotta.
Don't tempt me, I'll do it, sucker.
I wonder if that's an interesting thing to think about. Is I wonder if because we're very sensitive to listening in stereo, I wonder if that's what makes our ears do that. Because it sounds like you and I have kind of the same deal going on. And maybe everyone does. Maybe that's just a normal thing and I'm just noticing it in my 30th year of life. I don't know, but you think I would have noticed it before, but I wonder if it's because we're very sensitive to listening in stereo that when you cover up one ear, it really changes things.
Oh, yeah.
I wonder.
I would imagine that. Like,
yeah, but also it doesn't take very long for ear fatigue to build up. Like,
especially if you're driving 100 dB right in your ears.
Yeah.
100 dB click track. 1, 2, 3, 4, chorus.
Got the power voice.
So strange.
Can you?
It works though. Our bands hardly ever mess up. In fact, we had one of our few screw ups happen. Like people were applauding really, really loud at one point last week, and it obscured. It was where one song blended into another one. So applause breaks out, and it was so loud that the band couldn't hear the announcement coming through on the click track. So all they heard was, and everybody thought it was ready to go, and it was not.
Wow.
So they just came in, and fortunately we have a bailout procedure for when stuff goes wrong. Like I'm paying attention to that kind of stuff out in the house.
What is
and,
that?
Huh.
Do I have to do something in case something goes wrong?
Pause.
Okay, this is the first time I've ever had to run his click track.
Brian, actually, that's a good thing we brought that up. Brian will wave at you and give you the cut.
All right.
Or if you can just tell that you're falling down the stairs, just pause it. Or if it gets bad enough that I catch on out in the house, I'll just mute it. I'll take it out and mute it. But yeah, like it got to the point where I was like, it sounds like they're kind of falling down the. Nope, they got it, and it was back on track. Nobody in the house caught on. It was really smooth.
That's good.
Could you work in the click tracks? Like there's the beginning of that one Tenacious D song, "Rock Your Socks," and
it's all going to be in German one day.
He counts in. Well, I think it'd be just funny at a church service. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, 6, and then they kick it.
The drummer would think that's funny. Everyone else wouldn't.
I'm gonna have Carl overdub one in his German accent. Like Carl does this accent every time he talks about being on the phone with the Sennheiser service reps. Like it's terrifying to hear. It's like because everything sounds terrifying in German. Like you must take the microphone and remove the connector. Like yes, sir, Mr. Sennheiser, sir. All right, but anyway.
Brandon does a pretty good gay German, from what I've heard.
So that's what it's going to be. Like, actually, I'll save it for the next time you come around. You're like, zwei.
Just freak me out.
I start looking over my shoulder when I hear stuff like that, right?
And then it'll be in it'll be in 3.
When the tune's actually in 4, but it'll be in 3. Just to Brian will love that.
You sort that out. You get an extra measure here and there. It's okay.
He's just gonna send it through my ears.
Pre-chorus again. Quick. Pre-chorus again.
He'll just send it through my ears. The rest of the band has it in 4 in a normal.
I should figure out how to do that so that only one musician has the German version and everybody else has it in English.
Just a new input.
So I'm doing it. All right, I gotta shut this down. We're way over an hour, and my microphone is so broken that probably everything I said is gonna be messed up. So.
You know what? Maybe next time I'll let you plug in, and then I'll swap out your mic cable before you start talking.
It's the cable. I think it's this mic specifically because I use a different cable almost every time. Anyway.
You think that we'd figure this out? This is a pro audio podcast after all.
I'm so tired, and it's so late by the time we get out here.
As is the story. I see it clipping. I can see it from across the room.
Oh, it had come completely unplugged. That's super. I wonder. Whatever. People are going to. I'm just going to back up 10 minutes and lop it off where we should have stopped.
Just crush that thing.
This
They'll
might
all
be
be the same waveform by the end.
Like that dubstep track I mixed. You know what? That was one other thing I'm really proud of. Like, it does look like a 2x4 in places, but there is still 9 dB of dynamic range in that song.
Hey, amazing.
Giddy up. All right. Well, here comes the theme music. So we're going to wrap it up here. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in, listening to us ramble. We'll catch you again next week if you're lucky.